Happy Halloween, guys! Miss Amy here with the Westminster branch of the Carroll County Public Library. And I am so glad that you guys are here for our Foaming Pumpkins program. Now I can hear you saying, foaming pumpkins? What's a foaming pumpkin? I'll tell you. We're going to do 2 different science experiments that can make all sorts of cool foam come out of some plastic pumpkins that we've got. And then, when we're done with each experiment, we're going to talk about what makes each one work. Now, if you want to do these experiments at home, I'm going to keep some slides at the end of the program, and that has all of the ingredients on there so that you can repeat the experiment at home. Now, as always, and I'll remind you a million times, you should have a grown-up help when you do any of these experiments. And I would strongly suggest that you do it in a place where mom and dad aren't worried about making a mess. As you can see, I am in my backyard, okay? So, hang on and we'll start with our first experiment. Okay, guys, so now we're going to do our first foaming pumpkin experiment. And this one's kind of simple. It doesn't really require exact measurements. And your grown-ups might remember it as being something like a volcano experiment, okay? As always, I need you guys to have a grown-up when you go out and try and do this, all right? So we're going to start with, we've got a little plastic pumpkin. And as you can see, I cut some eyes and the mouth out of it. We got that down there. And we've got some baking soda here. See? Baking soda. And I just put 2 healthy spoonfuls in there. Didn't really measure it out at all. Okay? And we're going to put that, use our funnel, and put that right in our pumpkin. Just like this. Okay. And I'm having to poke it a little bit to make sure it gets out of our funnel. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, we got that there. Now, we are going to put a little dish soap in that, just regular old dish soap. Put a nice squirt in there. That's going to make it nice and foamy. Okay. That's going to make it expand. And let's put in some yellow food coloring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what that's going to do. Okay? All right. Now, what have I got here? This is vinegar. Okay? And vinegar is going to create the reaction with our baking soda. Okay? We've got that there. Oop, we got a little bit coming out. Let's see what happens when we do this. Look at that! He's just foaming right out the eyes there. Look at that. Oh my God. So that was our first experiment with the tiny little pumpkin, with our baking soda and our vinegar. So what do you think made that experiment work? Let's think about it. Right. It was mixing the vinegar with the baking soda caused that bubbling to happen. Now, the reason that happened is that baking soda is called an alkali. It's a base, whereas vinegar is a very mild kind of an acid. And when you mix those together, they bubble up like that, and it causes carbon dioxide to be released, and that makes all of those bubbles. Now, where have you heard of carbon dioxide before? That's right. That's what we breathe out. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. And our trees and our plants breathe in carbon dioxide, don't they? Okay. So, hang on a minute and then we'll get started with our second experiment. All right. So now, guys, we're going to do the big foaming pumpkin experiment, okay? Now for this one, we have to be more precise with our measurements, and we have to be a little bit more exact with what we're doing, okay? Because it's more of an official science experiment, okay? As always, like I always tell you, you need grown-up help if you're going to try this one at home, okay? And this one we definitely want to do outside because it is going to make a big mess, okay? Now, what we're going to start with is we're going to start with some hydrogen peroxide. Now, this isn't the kind of hydrogen peroxide that you get at the regular store. You've got to go to this beauty store to get it, where hairdressers go and get their stuff, and you want the 40 volume, okay? That's 12% hydrogen peroxide. It's stronger than the kind of stuff that you would, mom or dad would put on a cut or something when it hurts, okay? So we're going to need that. We're going to need some dish soap again, just to make our foam, okay? We're going to put some food coloring in it, right? And then we're going to need a catalyst, okay? So our catalyst is what makes the experiment happen. It's what makes that foam happen. And for this, we are going to use some yeast, okay? So here we go. Now, we're going to start with 8 ounces of this. 8 ounces is a cup, right guys? So we're going to use our cup measure. I'm going to measure that out. Now normally they say 4 ounces for this one, but I am trying to make a bigger mess. Okay, so we're gonna go big with this. Okay, guys. All right, so we got 8 ounces. We've measured that. There we go. And we're going to put it inside. You can notice I have a plastic pumpkin again, right? So if you're going to use a real pumpkin, you'd have to dry it out and everything. So we're going to pour that real carefully in here. All right. Now, we're going to put our dish soap in there, right? Some nice, healthy squirts of dish soap. There we go. And let's pick a color. How about some funky blue? You want some funky blue? Sound good? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does that sound good? All right. So I got 10 drops of food color in there. All right. Let's stir this up. Okay. Here we go. Now, we got to make that catalyst, right? Ooh, look at that. All right, we got to make that catalyst. So we've got our yeast here. We open this up. I'm going to put that in a container. Now, have you guys ever made bread with mom or dad? If you do that, you need yeast, right? Yeast is what causes everything to rise, and we've got that nice catalyst there. Okay. And I'm using 2, okay? I'm using 2 packs. All right, here we go. 2 packs of yeast. Right in there. And we need to mix that with some warm water, okay? In this case, we've got 8 tablespoons. 8 tablespoons of warm water. Stir that in there. Okay, here we go. Ooh, that is tight. I'm going to stir that together, all right? We want that to start. Yeast is actually something that's alive, you know that? So we want to get that all active and moving around. Get the lumps out of it a little bit. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's get stuff out of the way here. Let's see what happens. Stirring this up. Okay, look at that. It's starting to foam. All right. I got lumps in here. Okay. Here we go, guys. 1, 2, 3. And there it goes. And that is our foaming pumpkin. Oh my God, it's still going. Cool guys, right? Aye. Okay, guys, so that was our second experiment. And that caused a much bigger bubbling, didn't it? A bigger, almost an explosion of bubbles all over the table, all right? So what do you think made that one work? Right, when we added the yeast into the hydrogen peroxide, it caused all that bubbling and that foaming. You know what? Have you ever had a little cut and mom or dad or some other grown-up took some hydrogen peroxide and they put it on that and it kind of bubbled and foamed and got all of the little icky dirt out of it? That's kind of what was happening here on a much bigger scale, okay? Why that happens is that the yeast is a catalyst, and that interacts with the hydrogen peroxide, and it causes oxygen to be released. And when that oxygen comes out, then we end up with just water and oxygen with the hydrogen peroxide. That's why I've got to use that bottle up pretty fast if I ever want to have this experiment again. Because if it sits around, it just breaks down and it eventually will just be water and my experiment won't work anymore. Okay? So, like I said, if you guys want to work on those experiments at home, there'll be some slides here at the end, and you can get any of those ingredients. Mom or dad, your grown-up, can get them anywhere around here in town, and you can work on those experiments. All right? Hope you have a fabulous Halloween. Bye, guys.